has been doing a lot of work together with Edmund and Tilaga and Adam to bring this about. And I must say, I only looked at it carefully yesterday, today. I have to confess that I am impressed with the questions drafted. Now, why are we doing this? Edmund will add later, but let me just say, why are we doing this? We are doing this because we feel we must make a major contribution to developing a more lively and mature democracy. Number two, that we must make our elections meaningful. Kalau wakil rakyat, dia mesti dapat pilih dari orang rakyat yang tahu siapa dia pilih. Because we are 50 years, only 50 years old in terms of democratic practice, many of our people, not all, but many of our people are not actively involved. They are not fully participatory. Dia tak ambil bahagian yang penuh, yang serious. Ada money politic, where people can be bought over or persuaded with a big makan ke, bagi-bagi apa pun lah. And that is not fair to our country. So we, Undi Malaysia and CPPS, and I'm the chairman, by the way, of CPPS, Center of Public Policy Studies, part of ASLI, we felt that the people cannot be blamed for putting in the wrong candidate. We blame the government, we blame the opposition, we blame the Wakil Rakyat, and the Adun. People have always got some complaints, and that's natural. But actually, we should blame ourselves. That's my personal view. Because we put them there. We are responsible. We are given a sacred responsibility of voting. And I say, syukur kepada Tuhan. Thank God that we got a democracy in this country, and a pretty lively democracy. There are many countries in the world which do not have democracies, or have democracies under very rigid, suppressive, oppressive laws. I'm not saying we are perfect. We need to improve. We need to improve our democracy. It's not fully developed democracy. But for that, we need people to get the right people in Parliament and in State Legislative Council, and I would add later on even local authorities. I hope we will extend to that later on. Because in the end, people are worried only small things. Garbage collection, my school, my hospital, my clinic, my lighting, you know. They're not interested in international trade policy, foreign policy, defense policy. Itu dia kata bagi pimpinan lah. Kita mau kecil-kecil punya hal. Pasar malam, traffic, those are all basic local issues. Clean, open, intelligent, and transparent elections. So that the people who are elected are our true leaders. Not crooks, not corrupt, not cronies. And I say it very seriously. If anybody wants to sue me, Edmund Bond will help me out. But that is true. We don't want people there who will misuse the power, abuse the power, manipulate the power. And then who suffers? You, I, our children, and our grandchildren. So that's all I got to say for the time being. We want informed, open voting, and people who know that the vote is sacred, and ini dia bertanggungjawab yang kuat, yang serious, and they have to discharge their responsibility as warga negara Malaysia with very, very serious intent.
We launched September 16. We have 700 penggerak since then, and we have a core group of 80 over people now. So we will continue to move and Laporan Rakyat is our first deliverable with CPPS to make the politicians more accountable and to create an atmosphere of critical thinking for our electorate before they make their decisions to vote. So this comes within our second platform of process, the second platform which encourages engagement with politicians.
I'd just like to reiterate the point which Edwin may want to elaborate. We are non-political. Tak kira siapa parti politik. Kita ingat masyarakat untuk masyarakat saja. Ya.
Okay,
Now,
ladies and
Ian.
gentlemen. Yes. The idea that this Laporan Rakyat came about is actually when we realized that there's a serious gap between the expectation of the Wakil Rakyat and the expectation of the Rakyat ourselves. So for example, we will see and hear Wakil Rakyat telling us that, oh, we work so hard that the people do not suffer this. And then we will hear people saying that we don't know what the Wakil Rakyat is doing. They are just attending dinners and giving speeches and giving money and allocations, but on the ground, we don't actually feel what they are doing. And therefore, this idea of putting together a Laporan Rakyat, in short, it also means a report card for your people's representative came about. And the collaboration between the Centre for Public Policy Studies and Undi Malaysia came about when we realized that what CPPS could bring to the table is to come up with the content and analysis and later to write about conclusions of the Laporan Rakyat and how Undi Malaysia will contribute to this effort. What Adam and Edmund has said earlier, that it is a young people's movement that will be moving on the ground, non-partisan but very political, I would say, because they know what they're doing, to put this together. Allow me to just walk you through very, very briefly what the Laporan Rakyat is all about, if I may draw your attention to the first page of this first section. So you will see question 1 and 2 to ask you who is your adun, who is your MP. So that in itself, we will try to gauge whether you know who is representing you.
Semua ada laporan?
Yeah, the laporan.
Oh, semua ada.
Yeah. You don't? Okay, if you don't, there are plenty over here. If we could pass that around. Okay, question 1 and 2 also hope to make people think. What do they think about their people's representatives? What do people think about their Wakil Rakyat, whether they are aduns or MPs? So then you see, we ask them to describe in 50 words, how do they feel, what do they know or they don't know about them. So hopefully with the 50 words, we will be able to come up with a conclusion that can serve as a mirror or reflection for that particular political leader at present, to see how they can further improve themselves. Then you move on to section 3, whereby you see a long list of issues that has been listed. Next. Okay, you have this one. On this page, that from crime, corruption, all the way down to price of houses, public transportation and racial unity. We just want to know whether you as a citizen, as a rakyat, you know what your MP or your adun is talking about, or you don't hear them talking about at all. So you rate it here. Some people will say, yes, we know that they are talking about this, or no, they don't even talk about this. But then the interesting thing is that you look at the third column where you see, I don't know, I don't care. It's either you see, people, yes, they could be a voter, but they don't really care who their Wakil Rakyat is, because people have been voting along party lines in the past. So whether their people's representative take out the following issues or not, it doesn't really matter to them because they don't care. Therefore, we also would like to gauge how many % of the sample that we will be getting know exactly what they are voting for and who does what for them. So that is why we have the third column, which may raise a few question marks in your head at the moment. So question 4, next please, would be perhaps there is something that we missed out or we overlooked. We don't know, that could be your local issue that could be identified. So we hope that, 1 to 5 could be something that you would like to include or you would like to rank in terms of priority. So then if that report comes out and that could serve as a reflection back to the politician, then they know, okay, this is what their people would like to see more, in what area the people would like them to put in more effort to improve. That brings us to question 5. is to rate them, and then this is the real report card.
Inilah laporan lah, report card.
Okay, how often do you see them? Is it easy to meet them? Do they solve your problems? Do they come to the community? Do they come to you often? Whether they know what are the local issues? Do they even know the kawasan? Do they even know the neighborhood? So you may find very surprising result at the end of this. We don't know, we are not trying to speculate, but let's see what will come out of this. Then there's a total score. Okay.